All right, brothers, what up, though? I wanted to take a quick look at an episode or a scene from an episode of The Wire from HBO. Now, most brothers have probably already seen this, but for those who have not, I'm looking at the episode Amsterdam, where Major Coven was trying to get all of the drug dealers and users into one location, like Amsterdam. In his mind, they gonna sell it, they gonna use it. So why not just get them to sell it and use it in one location and clean up the rest of Baltimore? Well, now he wants the children to, these young brothers to get off of the street, get off of the corner, and go back to school and stay in school. He tries to have a meeting in the gymnasium, and I want you brothers to watch what occurs. I'm gonna let it play, and I'll commentate throughout. What does this remind you brothers of? It looks to me like they're being herded like cattle, like sheep. Notice how loud and wild they're conducting themselves. They are children, but at some point there needs to be some order, some discipline, which these brothers do not have.
We had to bring you down here this afternoon because you've not been complying with our directives.
Say what?
You haven't been doing what we asked you to do.
Yeah.
Understand this brother's vocabulary is not where it needs to be. That's why he had to ask the question again. These brothers need to be in school. They're not learning nothing on the street except the police is the enemy, ops, and, what drugs to use and, who's selling what and all this other nigga nonsense.
When I'm done.
I got P9. Ain't playing. Smell like you already pissed in his drawers.
All right, go ahead then.
Yo, I gotta go too.
You just got to wait.
You just let him go. How you gonna discriminate?
Yo, Faggy, why you touch my butt?
See how they all acting like clowns? Like animals? No disrespect. No disrespect, but let's call a spade a spade. They're conducting themselves poorly because they have no discipline in the home. The mother is great, no doubt about it. For those of us who had a good mother or have a quote unquote good mother, whatever that means to you, understand that much discipline isn't going to come from the mother. It just isn't. By the age of between 10 and 12, 13, around there, specifically for boys, they start to rebel against the mother. Not to be disrespectful, but they just start to test their own manhood. So what mama has to say doesn't really hold much weight. There's nothing but love and respect there. But deep down in the man's core, he knows that he needs to be learning more. And the mother just cannot provide that. Notice, if you will, that Major Colvin cannot get the children under control. Why? Twofold. One, he's a cop, i.e. the enemy. So to these young brothers and sisters out here, all they see is their daddies getting hauled to jail, their brothers getting hauled to jail, their male cousins getting hauled to jail or shot by the police. And if the police do come, it's to attack them. So the police are no help to the so-called black man and woman in this community, i.e. in the hood. It just is what it is. But the most important thing why this brother Major Colvin gets zero respect is because he is a so-called black man. That's why. The so-called black man has been absent from the home for whatever reason. Dead, jail, drugs, addiction, whatever the case may be. But he has been absent from the home, removed from the home. And what's left is the mother. Once you have the mother, you get the child right away. You can indoctrinate the child in any way you want. You can set them in front of the television. It is what it is. But when you remove the man, you remove discipline and order, knowledge, wisdom. Now, don't get it twisted. Just because you're a dude with a penis don't mean that you're going to be able to provide these things. I'm talking about men. I'm not talking about thugs and street niggas and drug dealers and pimps. I'm talking about men. The man is supposed to be in the home, but he is not. He's been removed from the home. So when these kids see Major Colvin, they see two things. One, a cop, i.e. the enemy, but they also see the so-called black man, and the so-called black man has been absent from my life. I'm talking third person from a child's perspective, from one of these children's, POV. The so-called black man has been absent from my life. I would have loved to play catch. I would have loved to talk about girls, with my father. I would have loved to have some knowledge and guidance and wisdom in the home. I wanted this. I desired this, and it was taken from me for whatever reason. So when I see this so-called black man, i.e. Major Colvin, or any so-called black man in the hood or just, around the neighborhood, I see my father in a roundabout way, in a roundabout way. But when I see him, there is disdain. There is this animosity, or what I like to call self-hate. Because when I see another brother who looks like me, another brother, I see what I did not have. And if I didn't have it, chances are high that he didn't have it. And I know how I am. I'm in the streets. I'm violent. I'm angry. Chances are this brother in front of me is going to conduct himself the same way. Let me pull out my gun, my knife, and do what I got to do, because I believe that this brother is going to do it to me first. And all the kids are laughing and having a good time while these two brothers are fighting over goof shit. But notice that Major Colvin could not control the children. The police are here to break up these little high school middle kids up from this little fight. But notice who comes in. Notice who comes in to save the day and to provide via discipline, via the principal. What do we have here? What do we have here? A woman, the so-called black woman who is the principal of the school. Watch this.
The fun is over. Terrell, why weren't you in school today?
My stomach hurt, I couldn't make it out the bathroom.
Stand up when I talk to you, young man. I know your mother, Terrell. She didn't raise any clowns. Now, did she?
No, man.
It's yours, Major.
They're quiet, and none of them are playing around now. Why? Because the female teacher reminds them of who? The mother. The mother in the home. The mother is there, present, not absent, present. And she is putting food on the table. She is putting clothes on these children's back, on her child's back. She tries to give some discipline the best she knows how, and tries to conduct her home in an orderly fashion to the best of her ability. And the children see it. The children see it day in, day out. She might work one job or two jobs, a job here and waitress in there and trying to do a little side hustle. It is what it is. But the child sees this, intrinsically. This is every day. The child is conscious of the work that the mother is putting in. Major Coven here has not put in the work via, a father. And I'm not talking about him as a dad. I'm talking about just as a so-called black man, the image of the so-called black man. The black man has been removed from the home. So when they see this black man, they see, one, the enemy because he's wearing a badge, but also what I have missed and what I've longed. But here you are telling me what I should be doing. And you have not provided the things that my mother has provided. The matriarch of the so-called community, or the leadership of the so-called community, is matriarchal, no doubt about it, which is why we are at the very bottom. No disrespect. The woman, specifically the so-called woman, the black woman, is tip top. She is great. And I've said before, when she is in her right mind, she is smart, beautiful, important, not only necessary, but essential. The mother is extremely needed, no doubt about it. But the Most High set it up for it to be two. The wife, the husband, the mother, the father. And the father is supposed to be the head. So what you're left with is just a helpmeet. And the children are the ones that suffer. But notice that when the principal came down, her female voice resonated with the children. It reminded them psychologically of the mother, which is why they perked right up. They stopped laughing and clowning. But notice that when Major gets the mic again, notice what happens.
And ladies and gentlemen, we brought you down here because you're here to learn about the new way that we're going to
The father has got to be in the home. Not some dude with a penis. I'm talking about a father, a functional man, has got to be in our children's home. When you remove the man, you're left with the mother. And when you have the mother, you get the child right away. You get the child right away. Which is why we are sentenced harder. We go to jail more often. We're the ones that you see on television. Now, don't get it twisted. The Caucasian, Asian, everyone else steals too, but that's not what they want to show. They want to show us. And I think it's a good thing. They're showing us what we need to improve upon. A lot of times you see these news segments and they show all the looting that's going on, where the kids is going into these department stores and just taking clothes off of the racks. All the nigga nonsense that's going on at the gas station. There's always some shootout or some goof shit at the gas station. It is what it is. But they're showing this to reflect back onto us, not to us. It's not for us, but that's how I'll take it. It's to show the Caucasian who the enemy really is. And to show the powers that be who's still at the very bottom, that being the so-called black man and woman. But I look at it as these are things that could all be avoided if we had fathers in the home. to provide order and discipline. It's needed. And Major Coven here is doing a good thing, trying to clean up the streets, trying to get the brothers and sisters back in school and get them off of the corners, which is needed. But unfortunately for him and others, he's doing it from the outside. It's very, very, very difficult, challenging to try to change someone or the conditions of something from the outside, i.e. marching and protests and things of that nature. But when you're on the inside, that's where the real work gets done. The so-called black man needs to be inside the home. Anyway, it's a great scene. From The Wire, of course, is on HBO if you brothers are interested. Catch you in the next one.